We're back to our player preview series, and ladies and gentlemen, the question is simple. What will Colin Chandler's role be for this Kentucky basketball team? That is the conversation on today's episode of the Wildcats Today Podcast. Thank y'all so much for being here every single day. I'm your writer and editor over at Wildcats Today, Andrew Stefaniak, joined by my co-host, as always, Mr. Carson Nash. Carson, we're getting ready. Yesterday was 4th of July. Not really, because we're recording this on Tuesday. But I hope it was a great 4th of July. I hope we still have all of our fingers, but like when this really comes out, we might not. So you'll just have to wait and find out. But
I'm looking a whole lot better right now than I will be on Friday.
A lot of Sprites?
A
lot of
a lot of those.
Yeah, okay. I get it. I mean, a lot of sugar, it kind of gets you get a little jittery. I get it. Yeah, I'm with you.
The crash, man.
Yes,
the crash
no question. But so y'all will be watching this day after 4th. Hope everybody had an outstanding 4th. But Carson, I think you and I might disagree on this a little bit. So let's get right on into this. What do you think Colin Chandler, what excites you about him as a player? There's a lot of question marks. What are your thoughts there? And then what do you think his role is going to be?
Yeah, what excites me is kind of really the unknown, Like you don't really know what you're getting with Colin Chandler because as we all know, he went on his mission trip out of high school. He had committed to BYU under Pope previously and is now a Kentucky Wildcat, but he was a very high rated recruit. And if you go back and watch tape and film, you can see why. His tape, it's crazy to say this after he goes number 3 in the draft, but his tape really reminds me of Reed Shepherd's and the fact that he's freaky athletic.
Yeah.
And he has great hands. That's what really surprised me. I think Colin Chandler is going to be one of those guys that gets like 3 steals a game. And you're like, well, how the heck does he get 3 steals? It's because he's so active on defense. He has good hands. And of course he can shoot the ball. But he's more than just a shooter. He's athletic and he can dribble. So he gets to the rim at will. And so Colin's one of those guys that really, really excites me, but you also got to think he's had 2 years off. So we'll see what happens.
Well, to me, Colin Chandler, and I'll tell you this, like, let's go. I want to get an official, height and weight on him here. I'm pulling this up right now. Currently on the roster, they have Colin Chandler listed at 6'5", 187. So he's no little guard. He's not little. He can. And you know what I love about him the most when you watch that film, Carson? You know what he's got?
What?
He has that mentality, man. That on the court you hate him kind of guy. I love the way he plays basketball. He has that. If you're on the other team, it's going to be a really, really crappy 40 minutes.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Reed had it too. And it's not the fact that you act like the other team should hate you, like you're not cocky. It's that you're that good and you pester them so much and you outwork them. That's the mindset that he has.
Yeah, I agree with you. But, I mean, my concerns are the same concerns you have, Carson. And we know that Coach Pope has experience with the whole mission trip and players gone for a couple of years. So I think it's a little unfair for us to all, and everyone, all the BBNs doing this, you and I include, Carson, but it's like, we all kind of have that. Well, I mean, he hasn't played in 2 years. This is what they do. Like Coach Pope knows how to deal with this. Like, it's not like this has never been seen before ever. Like, he knows how to handle this. So I think I've been using that as like, okay, calm down. It's going to be okay. Coach Pope knows what he's doing kind of thing. But, without a doubt, Carson, I mean, I definitely, I can't act like it's weird. We're not used to this. We need to see it. But when it comes to the film that I watched with my 2 eyes, I'm telling you, that dude can hoop. It is plain and simple. He is an elite basketball player. He's a highly ranked guy in his recruiting class. He's going to come to Lexington and be a really good player. So where we disagree, Carson, and I don't know how much it's disagree. I don't know, but let's get into it. But tell me what do you believe? So we talked about this when we previewed Trent Noah last Thursday, I believe it was. And we said we're going to have a conversation. Does Colin Chandler belong in the conversation with Travis Perry and Trent Noah? Or does he belong in the conversation with Ainsley Almanor and Otega Owe and Kerr Krisha, in that kind of Brandon Garrison in that second team, backup guys coming in off the bench? Between those two categories, if you had to lean toward one side or the other, Carson, where would you put him? It's a tough one. It is a tough question.
I would lean towards the Otega side.
Okay.
But it would be way more like half and half. Like I'd put him
You're
over Travis. Yeah, I'd put him over Travis and Trent, but I wouldn't put him as high as Otega or Kerr. So it would be like right smack dab in the middle of those.
So I would say I'm not far off from you. If this is the scale and this hand is, Travis and Trent, this hand is the kind of the B team players, I would put him close. I would probably put him closer to that second tier group of players than you are, but not in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a believer. One thing that I have said my whole life when it comes to football, basketball, baseball, film does not lie. Film tells the truth. You can watch film, and you got to remember, Colin Chandler, this film, he's playing against some serious, he was on good teams.
These are AAU big-time teams.
The film does not lie on Colin Chandler. The film I watch tells me that he's going to be a dang good player at the next level. Now, is he going to have to settle in? Is it going to take him some time to get used to college basketball? You got to remember, he's a freshman. He's not a transfer. He's a freshman. He's he's old enough to go get a Sprite, but he's still a freshman.
Well, that was one of the points that I was going to bring up too, Andrew, is the fact that he is, what is he, 21, 22?
I think he's either 20 or 21. Because you guys think he 18 he's 2 years, so he's got to be 20 or 21. But
so most freshmen don't come in that old. So I think having him, and his mind is more developed than most freshmen. So I think he might be able to learn a little quicker and be more mature and maybe more of a leader than most would think as a freshman. And I think that could really help this team in the long run. Yeah,
I'm with you. I'm with you fully on that. So, I'm trying to think of a player to I'm going to give you a number, Carson, a number for minutes, and you tell me higher or lower. Okay. Minutes per game.
Mm-hmm.
9 minutes a game. Does he play more or less than 9 minutes a game?
That's so crazy because I had him at 8.
Yeah. See, that is where I think the number is. Does he play 10 to 12 or does he play, not many at all?
He's one of those guys where I think he could start out with less minutes and earn more throughout the year as he kind of gets back into his style and how he plays.
But I'll tell you what, Carson, and this is just the vibe I see on Twitter. I think BBN is excited about Colin Chandler. I think people really are buying into him.
And
I am too.
Yeah.
Not saying that you and I aren't. We are too. But people are really excited about him as a player, and I think his upside is tremendous. He is a guy that if his upside hits, he's going to be an incredibly, incredibly special player. He's got that. He can shoot, he can slash, he can defend. He's got quick hands. He's got that mentality. He's got everything you need to be a successful basketball player. And I'm really excited to see what he's going to be able to do in this system because, like I said, he's a great shooter. He can do everything. And
that's why I said Reed. I hate making that comparison because I don't want it to get overused and it shouldn't because Reed is one of a kind, but it really does resemble Reed Shepherd's film from high school. If you look at Collins next to Reed's, you're like, this looks like the same guy.
Yeah, I'm with you. Similar film. Obviously, Collins a little taller, a couple inches taller.
Mm-hmm.
But all around just a player that is going to be really, really special. And I'm excited about it. Carson, I've got a question for you, and it is completely in no way related to this. So before I ask you this question, any other thoughts on Colin Chandler and his role, anything there? But I've got a random question for you. I mean,
no other thoughts really. I mean, I'm really excited to see his development because I think he's going to be more than a one-year player. Yeah. And that's what gets me really excited because I think this kid can be a all-world superstar.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. Now, so yes, before I ask you this question, and it's so unrelated, it's basketball related, but it's wild. But to me, Colin Chandler might be the most significant question mark on this roster. I mean, what is his role going to be? I think pretty much every other player on this roster, I could pinpoint within a few minutes, what their role is going to be. If I had to take a really good guess and feel good about it, Colin Chandler is the player that it's like, I don't know. I mean, it could go either way because I think he falls under one of those two categories, and which one it is going to be interesting. So that's my final thoughts on Colin Chandler. So Carson, Justin Edwards goes undrafted. And this is, I was so utterly shocked by that. And I just wanted to get like your quick hit 30-second thoughts on it. I was just so shocked by that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little, for me, it was disappointing. Especially when you see,
I feel horrible for the kid.
Yeah. Especially when you see Bronny get drafted. I know there's different reasons for that, but just to leave Justin out of there. I mean, he was kind of hitting his stride at the end of the year too. But that's one of those instances where maybe it would have benefited him to come back to school. And I think he might've gotten some bad information. There was a lot of divide between Clutch Sports and John Calipari in the news recently. Rich Paul didn't seem to have the nicest things to say about him. Basically talking about Chris Livingston and alluding to Justin Edwards. So there's some divide there. So we'll see what happens in the future between all of that. And I don't know, but I was really disappointed for Justin because he's a great kid. He deserved his moment. But I think he can work himself to be an NBA player.
My only thoughts on this, I was just so surprised. Carson, I've written so many. I predicted I told you, I said Reed's going 3, Rob's going 8. I had that dialed. I have done so much work with this NBA draft, with all these players, with Reeves and Justin. I was dialed on this draft. And I had seen Justin mocked in that 25 to 30 range weeks. Then like a week before the draft, he goes, okay, 36. Okay, 41. And I'm starting to go, weird that he's starting to fall in these mock drafts. I mean, he was mocked at the end of the first round in every mock draft for like 2 months. And then he just goes undrafted. And I was like, what? I've never seen that. A player that was supposed to get mocked in the back half of the first round not go. That was wild to me. Utterly wild to me. But no, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was really interesting. But that's going to do it for today's episode of the Wildcats Today podcast. Hope everybody once again had an outstanding 4th of July. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate everybody tuning in, being here every day. We really do appreciate y'all. So have a great weekend. Hopefully it's a long weekend. Everybody has a day off work today. You're able to watch the Wildcats Today podcast, hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. But everybody have a great long weekend. Hope everyone had an outstanding 4th of July, and we will see y'all on Tuesday.